we just wanted to tell you a little bit more about the lab, because you know that this conference is jointly organized by LILW, as we call it, the Legal Innovation Lab Wales, and Welsh Government. To some of you, however, the Legal Innovation Lab Wales will sound as an entity that you know nothing about. So it's worth perhaps touching base on what it is and how it started and where it's going, essentially. So the Legal Innovation Lab Wales is, in essence, a research center that we opened at Swansea University towards the back end of 2019, but it was only kind of in operation from the beginning of 2020. It is 70% funded by the European Regional Development Fund, to the tune of 4 million. So it's a fairly significant investment that has been made in sort of supporting research capacity in the legal innovation domain. And it is also partly sponsored by Swansea University as well. The grant that we have supported 3 different areas of research. One is research into cyber terrorism and cyber threats, which happens through our CyTREC, Cyber Threats Research Center. The second area is, of course, legal tech that we are sort of exploring in this conference. And the third area is related to access to justice, although we try to embed a little bit of access to justice across the other 2 domains as well. Essentially, CyTREC supports a fairly significant team of researchers. CyTREC is a strand of research in the School of Law at Swansea that has been sort of growing over the years. So it's already pretty sizable presence in terms of research capacity and research effort, and has developed over a decade, basically. Legal tech is a significantly newer area of research, but the School of Law in Swansea has invested into this agenda for about 5 years now. We opened the first LLM legal tech, we launched the first LLM legal tech in the UK in 2018, and then we've grown the LLM legal tech in parallel with our research in the field. And access to justice is related to the great work that our law clinic does in Swansea under the direction of Professor Richard Owen. So that is also a very significant strand of research, but as I said, it's something that we try to incorporate across everything that we do. We don't just let it live in the law clinic, but we try and embed it across all our research. So the lab is both a physical structure and a research structure as well. In terms of physical spaces, you can see here on the left a picture of our innovation suite. So one of the things that we were really keen to do with this grant was to create a space that was open to all law firms and other legal organizations, legal researchers, and so on, so that we could basically co-develop innovation, bringing in the academic side, the researchers, but also bringing in the expertise of the legal profession. So we created, as a first sort of manifestation of the lab, we created a physical space that, as you can see, is an open space. It has whiteboards, it has screens and everything else. And these are all spaces meant for collaboration. So it's really a big collaboration space. There are other spaces in the lab. There are spaces for CyTREC, in particular, to carry out research into cyber terrorism. There is an AI lab, which is essentially a computer lab, again, meant for collaboration. But this is the key space that we open, and it's a collaboration space. Together with a collaboration space, we also built, on the legal tech side of things, a research team. It comprises, at the moment, 3 research assistants and a senior lecturer in computational law, but we are expanding the team with some new researchers that will start in the autumn. We also have a fairly significant presence in terms of professional services staff. We have, for example, support for engagement, we have support for research funding, and so on. And together with the legal tech research team, of course, there's a fairly significant presence in the cyber terrorism research team as well. To give a very brief overview of CyTREC, CyTREC was established about a decade ago, as I said. So in 2011, it started operation to basically look into cyber terrorism by carrying out research that had never previously happened at academic level. So there's a very strong focus on empirical research, there's a very strong focus on sort of comparative research and interdisciplinary research in particular. CyTREC collaborates with a wide range of stakeholders externally. I'm just going to show a few of them. They've collaborated with Europol, they collaborate with Facebook, with Twitter, with the Home Office, and many others. So it's a very well-developed strand of research that has been accelerated through the lab, and that will continue, of course, in the future with great significance in the field. The Swansea Law Clinic physically has a space very close to the innovation suite that I showed before. I'm not going to say much about the law clinic. You know how law clinics work within universities. So it's basically supporting students in engaging with clients and providing legal advice as part of their degree training. But our law clinic is an award-winning law clinic, and it has this very strong focus on access to justice, strong connections with the third sector, and so on. And so we're very, very happy that we've been able to support this through the Legal Innovation Lab Wales project. And finally, the legal tech space that I lead, as I said, we started in 2018, launching the first LLM in the UK specifically dedicated to this subject. We launched the lab, we had a formal launch of the lab in January 2021, and we were able to recruit a research team and start working on external projects pretty much about a year ago. So we're now at a phase in which the research team has grown and is growing. We are developing a number of projects with external organizations. Just to give you a sense of what we're working on, we're working with Legal Beagles, for example, which is an online advice forum provider to evaluate the impact of COVID on employment law disputes. We are creating some legal tech explainers to sort of help the sector understand the technologies that can be applied to legal practice in a more in an easier way. We have developed a workshop series for trainee solicitors where we provide a knowledge exchange opportunity that allows trainees to kind of bring their experience as new practitioners, and it allows us to help them see how technology can help them improve that legal practice. We're also in discussions for collaborations with a number of other entities with projects that involve, for example, the use of XML formats to identify information in legal documents, or perhaps, for example, for compliance with cybersecurity and so on. So we work with a wide range of external stakeholders, law firms, the Solicitors Regulation Authority, the Law Society, and many others. What we do in terms of legal tech looks at three aspects, and this is where I will conclude this presentation. And as I said before, one of the key things we want to do is co-develop legal tech solutions, and that can be with governments, as we just heard happen in Jersey with an Australian university, but of course also in partnership with law firms in particular, with legal tech startups, and any other organization that is interested in legal innovation. Second pillar of what we do is we want to make sure that the innovation we do is backed up by research. We think that there's a need to make sure that legal innovation happens in an environment where research accompanies it from beginning to the end. And so, of course, our researchers work to make sure that anything that we produce, any innovation that we co-develop with external partners is indeed supported by sound academic research. And the third key element of what we do is networking. We're very keen to engage with any organization, regulators, policymakers, and so on, to make sure that indeed legal innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not something that just happens to law firms at one point in their sort of day-to-day activities, but something that grows organically with the sector. And so clearly it is also something that needs regulatory changes. It's something that may need changes at the level of policy and so on. So we want to be part of that discussion, and we want to connect basically all the different parts of the legal tech environment together.